It's Monday night, and here's what happened. Donald Trump was inaugurated as the 47th president of the United States today, but not before he had the chance to launch two different crypto coins. The first is money sign Trump, and the second is money sign Melania. And they are both backed and run by the same people who brought you the Hawk Tuah coin. Before Biden left office, literally minutes before he left office, he issued a rash of pardons to his family members, members of the January 6th committee, but not to witnesses at the January 6th trials and not to Reality Winner, even though we got the number of signatures required to have him seriously consider it. He did commute the sentence for Indigenous activist Leonard Pelletier, who was accused of killing two FBI agents over 30 years ago. Mr. Pelletier will get to finish his sentence from home. Marco Rubio is the first cabinet member to be approved by the Senate. He was unanimously approved to be Secretary of State. And we got two acting cabinet members. The first is James McHenry, who is a lawyer specializing in immigration enforcement. He will be heading up the Justice Department, which falls in line with what appears to be Trump's number one priority, which is immigration. And as acting Secretary of Defense, we have Robert Salesses, who is a former Marine and has worked for many years under 4 different presidents in the administrative arm of the Pentagon. So he knows what he's doing. Trump has now signed 100 executive orders. And remember, executive orders are wishes, not demands. So just because something is a signed executive order doesn't mean that it goes into effect right away. The government has to prove that the executive order is lawful for it to be enacted. It's not even that unusual for a president to have a lot of executive orders in the first 100 days. Biden had hundreds in his first week, many of which never became law. Just like in Trump's first term, many of them do not become law. So just because you hear it's an executive order that's been signed, let's wait and make sure that it's actionable. Among the executive orders that Trump signed today, though, one of them releases the JFK, RFK, and MLK assassination records. Note he did not release the Epstein records as he promised he would. Trump also put a freeze on any hiring or regulations until his administration takes full control of the government. He withdrew from the Paris Climate Treaty, which he did when he was president the first time. This basically is a global commitment to not allow the climate to warm more than 2 degrees. He pulled us out of that. Trump will pardon January 6ers with non-violent offenses, but less clear, he said he would commute the sentences of January 6ers with more serious offenses. So, is he letting the leader of the Proud Boys out who's supposed to be serving 22 years? Unclear. He declared a national emergency at the southern border and said he's going to use the military to help with mass deportations. He also signed an executive order that cancels the flights of Afghan refugees, 1,600 of them, who have ties to the U.S. military. He will reinstate military service members who objected to COVID vaccines with full back pay, and will completely eliminate any protections for transgender Americans, including the ability to put X as your gender marker. Now, a lot of these executive orders are going to be met with legal action from the ACLU and challenged in the courts, so just because you heard it today doesn't mean it goes into effect today.